Hey, welcome to another day of starting a software company in 100 days. Yesterday, I walked you through a couple of features of Playbook that aren't up to my standards for a finished product, and so today it's a weekend, so haven't spent a whole lot of time thinking about Playbook and the process that we are in the midst of here, or actually on the downward slope. But something that has been top of mind is the concept of an MVP, so a minimum viable product. What should a minimum viable product have? What should we? How quickly should you actually release a product? We've built um, a lot in the first 75 days of Playbook. But the big question is that is our next 2 to 3 weeks of development going to get us to the top, get us to the point where we have a really solid first set of features. Um, Rand Fishkin, who is the founder of Moz and the author of a really great book called Lost and Founder, he kind of coined this phrase of an exceptional viable product, so an EVP versus an MVP. And so basically releasing, um, you know, if you're a company and you already have a product, we have a product that's in a completely different niche than what we're in a completely different kind of slice of the market, and that's Harvest Profit, our farm management software product. And so I don't necessarily think that we're risking throwing out something that is a little too immature, because it's a process management tool. Playbook is that we're gonna that we want it internally, and we think that there are other people in other industries and other companies that are looking to standardize their processes just like we are. And so building the tool for internal purposes to release more broadly, because one, we think people need it. Two, we like building really good software. And yeah, so the where Rand from Moz got in some trouble. Can't remember the specific feature they released, but they kept talking to customers, and customers said, it really should have this, it really should have this, it really should have this. And they thought, well, we would just want to release a minimum viable product. That's what everybody talks about, the lean startup. Just release something quickly, iterate, um, keep testing it. Basically, use your customers to help you guide the path of the product. Well, what they ran into at Moz is they released this minimum viable product, and then all of a sudden they got a bunch of feedback that said, and some high visibility reviews of the product that said, well, I told them it should have A, B, and C. It doesn't have A, B, and C, so it's not a good product. And they really ran into some reputation issues by releasing a minimum viable product um, for the company that already had a ton of customers, a brand, an established brand. And so I don't think Playbook necessarily has the same type of background that forced Rand to kind of reclassify or rethink his support for the MVP process. But at the same time, we need to make sure that we have a great product, before we release it. And so um, that's really top of mind today is, thinking about, what, do the current features of Playbook make a minimum viable product, or do we need to, I emphasized, I think I showed a little bit of frustration in yesterday's video that, yeah, we definitely have a lot of enhancements that we need to make to the current feature set, but is the current feature set enough to actually, launch it out into public? And so just doing a lot of thinking here the next couple of days about, what is an MVP? What do we need the feature set of Playbook to look like? What do those features, how well-rounded they need to be, before we, launch the product out into the public domain. So just wanted to propose, mention this. Uh, if you haven't read Lost and Founder by Rand Fishkin, it's a great book. He talks about the trials and tribulations that they went through when they were trying to build out a big new feature for Moz, and the fact that they did a minimum viable product really set them back. They should have just released it to a small subset of their customers and iterated on it from there versus releasing it to their whole customer base. And so I don't think we have to necessarily face Playbook with that sort of lens, but I do think we need to not just have something that's minimally viable. I think it needs to be you know minimally awesome. And so just thinking about what we're going to do going forward as far as feature set. I cut out the conditional logic from Playbook, and that's just kind of a nagging thought in the back of my mind that should we make the first public version of Playbook contingent on having conditional logic in it? That's really the big question. And so I'm going to be doing some thinking over the next couple of days on that, and then I'll probably share some information with you on a marketing project that I'm getting underway at Harvest Profit, and how that potentially will relate to some of the stuff we are doing at Playbook. So with that, it's the weekend. I'm going to sign off for the evening. Have a wonderful day, and thank you for joining us. Just wanted to share with you some thoughts on MVP and this EVP concept that Rand Fishkin from Moz has put out in the public domain. I think it's an important conversation to have if you're starting a new product, or specifically starting a new product or a new feature set within an existing product. Something to definitely keep in mind. The MVP isn't the holy grail in all situations. So we will talk to you tomorrow. Thank you.